All right, Kirk Cousins is out. Here are 5 quarterbacks who could potentially replace him. Welcome back to Onebar and Lupagus show. I am Lupagus, and Minnesota Vikings destroy the Green Bay Packers 24-10 at Lambeau Field. But in the glory of that victory was a major loss. Our quarterback Kirk Cousins out with a torn Achilles. We will not see him again this season. We may never see him again in purple. And as sad as that is, we're going to try to move on and persevere and figure out a way to save this season. We're at 4-4, wide open NFC. Maybe all it takes is one new quarterback to keep us in contention. We'll talk about some options. Before we do, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet done it. We're over 10K, but drop hashtag 10K in the comments for your chance to win an amazing giveaway. We're thinking like Thursday-ish, we'll give those things away. To be eligible for the Jordan Addison signed mini helmet, you got to be a YouTube member, so be sure to become a member to do that. All right, let's talk about 5 options. And I'm not saying these are options that I want or I prefer, but I have seen these thrown out there on Twitter. Some were brought up in our post-game live. So let's talk about all of them. Let's start with Carson Wentz, the veteran quarterback who's currently a free agent, showed a lot of potential early in his career, kind of faded out. Started out with the Eagles, then he went to Indianapolis, then he went to Washington. He still shows flashes here and there, but he did throw for 22,000 yards in his career. He's thrown for 151 touchdowns. He's a guy who can succeed with some good weapons, and he's got weapons in Minnesota. So I don't know. Not my preference. I think there's just something off with him. He'll make the big mistakes. His quarterback ratings through his career are just complete shit and complete garbage. So his decision making leaves a lot to be desired. I would rather not go Carson Wentz route, so I'm going to say no on that one. But it's a name that they could look at. I mean, it's a possibility. They could still look at Carson Wentz if they want to. Let's go with another guy sitting up there on the shelf. He's collecting dust. He's actually an announcer right now. Matty Ice, Matt frickin' Ryan. Numbers speak for themselves. 62,792 passing yards, 381 career touchdowns. Matty Ice. He's a statue. He's not mobile, but the Vikings O-line is good. It's surprisingly good this year. They can protect him, keep him upright. He's got weapons he can utilize. Seems like it would be a decent fit on paper. How much rust is on Matt Ice? I don't know. Is it going to take 2 weeks for him to get acclimated? We're going to have 2 weeks of Jaron Hall until we're ready to make the switch. Maybe, maybe not. Matty Ice, he's an option. Would he come out of retirement to join the Minnesota Vikings? I don't know. What would it cost? I don't know what it would cost to make him do that, to make that switch. We'll see, but definitely a name to keep an eye on. Retired. And I think you can even lump Phillip Rivers in here. He was brought up to another guy who, good career, retired, but can you entice him to come out for one last hurrah? Maybe. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. We'll find out. We'll see what happens here. Let's go to an old face, an old familiar face. Case freaking Keenum. He's been brought up. Currently a third-string quarterback of the Houston Texans. What I like about Case Keenum, like he can avoid pressure in the pocket, create extra time, make those receivers get open just by what he can do. He's shifty. He's almost a magician in the pocket, the way he can avoid pressure. He's got like a sixth sense to him. He's a gunslinger. He's not afraid to chuck that ball down the field. Can we recapture the magic we caught in 2017, 6 years later? I don't know. But what's he going to cost you? He's going to cost you a 7th-round pick, maybe an exchange of picks in 2025. It's not going to cost you barely anything. I at least think it's worth looking into to get a crafty veteran like Case Keenum, which I also think will make a lot of Vikings fans happy. A lot of people love Case Keenum, wish he was a quarterback instead of Kirk Cousins. So I don't agree with that, but it's true. It's how they feel. It's an option. And again, if it's a 2026 7th-round pick, who gives a shit? Why not bring him in? So those are the first 3 options. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty. No, we got 2 options here. And this was brought around. I think Mello was very excited with this one. Tom Brady, the GOAT. Tom Brady. Would he come out of retirement? He owns like half the Raiders now. Would he come out and play for the Minnesota Vikings? Tom frickin' Brady. Why would he? One more shot to get a title. I mean, really, and I know we're the Minnesota Vikings. We're 4-4. We won 3 in a row. Defense is playing well. The NFC is shit. It's wide open. We see the San Francisco 49ers getting their asses kicked by the Bengals. The Niners had a meat grinder, or not the Niners. The Eagles had a meat grinder against the Washington Commanders. The NFC is wide open. Tom Brady to the Vikings, with the weapons he has, Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, a good old line. I mean, it might be enough to entice him to come to retirement. What's it going to cost you? I don't know. I don't know what the price tag is going to be. It might be pretty high. He's making a shit ton of money doing what he's doing now with his stupid ass Hertz commercials. I don't know. It was brought out there. It would be fun. It would definitely be fun to talk about and have happen. I don't think it's realistic personally, but here we are talking about it on a video on the Onebar Lupagus show. Could Tom Brady be the Vikings quarterback? All right, I'm going to drop the last option here, and this is the one I think is most realistic and could potentially happen, and it has to happen by Tuesday if it's going to happen. But let's talk about Matt Stafford, the quarterback of the Los Angeles Rams. They just got their asses beat by the Dallas Cowboys 43-20. Matt Stafford, here's the thing. He knows KOC's system. He was with him in Los Angeles. They won the Super Bowl together. He could potentially come in. He might be ready to go by next Sunday against the Falcons. The dude, he's a gamer. He's a baller. He can throw the ball multiple angles. He does tend to throw a lot of interceptions, but he's also familiar with the NFC North. He's been playing there. He played there for many years, the first half of his career, whatever the hell it was, 12, 10 years. He was in the NFC North. He knows the teams. He's familiar with the stadiums, and he knows the system. That's the key. He knows the system. To me, this is the most likely option. If the Vikings really think they can compete this year and actually want to try to get to the Super Bowl or compete in the playoffs or just compete here on out, Matt Stafford to me makes the most sense. He's playing right now. He's current. He's not rusty. He's not sitting on the shelf. He hasn't not been in the NFL like some of these other guys we mentioned, the Rivers, the Wentz, the Bradys. He's ready to go. And I think he could start next week against the Falcons if you make the deal. What's it going to cost you? I don't know. Would it be a third rounder and a player? Would it be a second this year and a fourth the next year? I don't know what it would be. I don't think it's not going to be a first round pick. He's old as hell. He's like 36 years old, 35 years old, whatever he is. But I just think system wise, it makes sense. He's familiar with the division. He can sling the rock. He's got weapons here in Minnesota he could utilize. It seems like this makes the most sense. It's the compensation. I don't know what it would take to pry him away from the Rams. The Rams are 3-5 right now in NFC West. They got the Niners, the Seahawks in the division. I don't think they're going to compete. I think they need to realize that. It makes sense for the Rams to get something in return for him. It makes sense for the Vikings to go and get him. To me, Matt Stafford to the Vikings, make that deal. That makes the most sense. Let me know if you guys agree with that or not in the comments. Am I crazy? Am I nuts? And I'm not like an overly huge Stafford fan, but I really think that the Vikings have a chance this year to compete. I like the way the defense is playing. The O-line's playing great. We don't have a running game, but Stafford can get by with what we have as a running game. So to me, that makes the most sense. It seems like the most seamless transition. If you truly think you can compete this year, make a deal. Get Matt Stafford in here. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Any of these guys. Are these all pipe dreams? Am I nuts? Do you have somebody else in mind? Let me know too. And remember this. At any given time, 0.7% of the world population is drunk. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.